As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here.
The Persian poet Rumi challenges us. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. We come from rich heritages of liturgy and pomp. We come from burning legacies of angry gods and threats of hellfire. We come just as we are. We come with exuberant and joyful hearts, eager to witness others. We come just as we are, to join our brothers and sisters as members of one family in this beloved home, our hands and hearts outreached. Come, come yet again.
Once again, welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. We have so much good that's going on here. Check out the West Shore Weekly in your order of service about events coming up and how you can get involved. And check out the little report on how we're doing on our capital campaign. It's going great. If you're here for the first or second time and you don't mind letting others know, please raise your hand so we can offer a special welcome to you. Let's take a moment to greet each other warmly. The greeting time will end with the sounding of the bowl.
Let's welcome Karen Kircher to introduce our volunteer spotlight.
Good morning. I apologize for my laryngitis, which I can't seem to get rid of. So what I'd love to do today is to honor one of our wonderful volunteers in the membership and engagement category. Along with Megan Ross, we both co-chair the Religious Education and Engagement Council. So it's my pleasure today to honor Grace Durfee. If Grace would come up in our volunteer spotlight. Grace, these lovely flowers in front of the podium are yours to take with you when you leave today, too. It's a gift from Valerie. Grace joined West Shore in 2018, and she's contributed so many different ways to our community. She's been a Connection Circle facilitator, pastoral care team member, very active with that, weekly meditation group leader, Reiki teacher, and has worked with the West Shore Sangha to host several Buddhist retreats. She's also hosted service auction parties in her home, which were delicious. I was at one of them. Grace has a calming presence and a wonderful ability to provide gentle, loving care to everyone she encounters. She also has a warm smile, welcoming for everyone she meets. Thank you, Grace, for all you share with our West Shore family. I've got to get off my podium here. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. A couple of goodies, and don't forget to take that with you.
The weekly offering honors the efforts we make to keep the doors of our church open and welcoming to everyone who passes through them. Please give generously to support our mission to be a welcoming congregation for all, no matter where you are from, who you love, or what you believe in. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. As many of you know, I am an English as a second language teacher in North Olmsted at the primary level. I have had the pleasure of doing this for more than 25 years. In North Olmsted, the primary population of students that I work with are Muslim and practice Islam. I have had families from all over the world, Jordan, Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan, Albania, Turkey, Syria, United Arab Emirates, Iran, Somalia, and probably more that I can't think of right now. The amount of languages that I have worked with over the years, that is like a whole entire other reflection. Currently, I have 11 different languages that I'm working with. But getting to know the Muslim culture and the Islamic religion has been one of the most rewarding and interesting experiences. I am indeed fortunate. Some of my dearest and most treasured friends have taught me things about their religion and culture that I don't think I could have learned from just picking up a book. But I'm going to let Donna talk to you about Islam. I want to share with you a few of the wonderful stories that I have from being so connected to my students, my families, friends, and their religion and culture. One thing that I have learned is not to pray in the bathroom. It's true. I was talking to my friend Izzy one day, not sure how it came up, but I was telling her that I like to pray in the shower because it was usually the only time that I'm alone. My children know not to mess with me when I'm in the shower. She said, "You cannot pray in the bathroom because it is the abode of the shaitan." And shaitan in English means the devil. Right, because it is said that the shaitan dwells there, the prayers are not considered to be valid. Needless to say, I have not prayed in the shower for like 2 decades. I know. So I know that being generous is part of the Muslim culture and Islamic religion. I tore my hamstring really badly about 1.5 years ago. I was laid up and had to miss work for 5 weeks. My friend Faust called and wanted to visit, and of course asked what she could bring. I knew not to say nothing because she was going to bring something. I thought about it, and then it came to me: oatmeal. I had been wanting something different for breakfast. So Faust comes to the door and has not 1, but 3 of the round containers of the Quaker Oats. Not only that, she brought me several adult coloring books, fancy colored pencils, and a beautiful plush blanket. Of course, she also brought my daughter Sierra the same: the blanket, the coloring books, and fancy pencils for her own. Faust would tell you how being generous and giving back is ingrained in her culture and her religion. My friend Basima would express to you that seeking knowledge is an obligation on every Muslim. Not only does she believe this, as it is mentioned in the Quran, but she models this in her daily life. Basima teaches her students every day the importance of learning and education. She has raised 3 wonderful children. All 3 of her children are college graduates, and 1 even with a master's degree. She has instilled the love of learning into their lives. Basima exemplifies the importance of seeking knowledge and the role it plays as part of her religion and her culture. I have worked with some of the most wonderful families over the years and have made lifelong friends. It has truly been my honor. I have learned much about the rich Muslim culture and the Islamic religion. The experience has definitely enhanced my life. For that, I am grateful.
It is Memorial Day weekend, and before we get into our For All That Is Our Lives ceremony, I'd like to recognize any veterans that are in the audience. Would you please stand for us? And in honor of those who served our country during times of war, and in remembrance of those who were lost, Donna Jang Wu will read When Great Leaves Fall by Maya Angelou.
When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall, in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly, spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
And now I invite you to come forward to hold in your heart your own silent reflection on the true meaning of Memorial Day in our community ritual for all that is our lives. These are the joys and sorrows of our hearts, which, in Reverend McCarr's absence, will be shared with Kathy Strausser, head of our pastoral care team, until he returns. As Rick Steves reminds us at the end of every episode of his travel series on PBS, venture outside your comfort zone, engage respectfully with locals, and return home with a deeper understanding of how other societies live and view the world. I actually watch a fair number of Rick Steves' programs, and I love this approach to travel, although I still don't have his knack for light packing. So, heeding his advice, and rather on the spur of the moment, my travel buddy Jane and I booked an overseas adventure tour to Morocco last February. Now, Morocco was not really on my bucket list, and I have always been tour adverse. When I travel, I generally like to just book a few Airbnbs and stay in one place for a few days or a week so that I can feel that I'm actually living in the place that I'm visiting, and I feel immersed in the culture that's different from my own. But I had heard really good things about overseas adventure tours, and because we booked last minute, we got a great deal. And who doesn't love a great deal? Most importantly, OAT promised to deliver that thing that I cherish most about travel: real cultural experiences. I wanted to sit in a little scenic cafe like this one and drink the local favorite, which in Morocco is mint tea. You don't find a lot of wine or other kinds of spirits in a country where the official religion is Islam. Of course, I did want to see the sights. Traditional Moroccan architecture, like this tomb of King Hassan, which is filled with exquisite mosaic work, and the new Cobra-inspired opera house. And I was not disappointed. Thinking back over this impulse buy, however, I'd say that fate or the universe, or maybe even, remember Reverend McCarr's Fool's card from Tarot, had a hand in getting me on this particular trip. It was definitely not just dumb luck. Everything synced, from our guide to our fellow travelers to the weather. What I got from Morocco was all of the history, architecture, and scenery, plus a highly spiritual experience, an introduction to a devout but moderate Muslim country. I have to give credit to that for this guy, Yasser Bey. Yasser was our tour guide, and he turned out to be not only a great ambassador for Morocco, but a great ambassador for Islam. I mean, just look at him. His happiness, contentment with himself, his confidence and compassion for other beings, including this street cat, are written all over his face. Here in America, we forget how young our country is. I know we're celebrating 250 years this year, but 250 years is nothing compared to North African or Middle Eastern countries like Morocco, which was established as an independent state in 789 CE. For most of its existence, which is now coming up on 300,000 years, the country has been governed by a series of dynasties, with the exception of a few periods when Morocco was occupied by other countries. Early on, its coastal regions were taken over by the Romans, and as late as the early to mid-1900s, there were 4 decades of colonization by the Spanish and the French. As peaceful as Morocco is today, and it is peaceful, there have been periods of violence. Moroccans fought with the Algerians over the Western Sahara Desert. They fought when the French and Spanish came, and they fought to get the French and Spanish out of their country. And one of the kings, Hassan II, the one who built that tomb, was responsible for a brutal period of state-sponsored political violence. In spite of the violence of his reign, Hassan now rests in this gold-encrusted place, which was one of the first sites we saw. He also built the second largest mosque in the world in Casablanca. The Hassan II Mosque accommodates 25,000 people in prayer on the inside and 80,000 outside. I can only describe it as looking like a football field on the inside, with an even larger expanse outside. This mosque was built literally extending out over the ocean because Hassan II wanted to honor the Quran, which tells us God's throne was upon the water. The mosque features a 210-meter-high minaret, one of the world's tallest, and a retractable roof. Given the state of Morocco today, the people that I met there, the information on Islam shared by our guide, and the impressions of other Moroccan visitors I spoke with, it is difficult for me to even picture Morocco at a time when it was experiencing unrest and violence at the hand of its government. It is also difficult to think about the violence that has been perpetrated on the world, including the United States, by Muslims. What Morocco illustrates is that any belief system has moderates and extremists. And unfortunately, it's the extremists who do the most damage and get the most press. As Unitarian Universalists, we pride ourselves on using the wisdom found in the writings of other religions, and we recognize that Islam has much to offer. We have also made room in our country for Islam. In fact, there are between 3.5 million and 4.5 million Muslims living in the U.S., and Islam is one of the fastest growing religions here. It is a population of significantly younger people than other religious groups in America, and it has diversity that you can only aspire to. In America, Islam is a mix of immigrant communities from areas like South Asia and the Middle East. Plus, there is a large, well-established African American population, a significant number of whom come to Islam through our prison system. Last week, I had the privilege of hearing Brian Stevenson, founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative, speak at the Cleveland Orchestra's Spring Festival. Stevenson, who has spent much of his life as a lawyer representing inmates on death row, noted that the United States has the largest population of incarcerated people in the world. At any given time, Blacks make up over 32% of that population, around 350,000 people. Of this number, as many as 30 to 40,000 convert to Islam each year. It is thought that inmates convert to find structure, build community for protection, reject institutional racism, and embrace rehabilitative lifestyles like sobriety. Yasser's description of Islam gave me more insight into why incarcerated African American men are so attracted to the religion. As Yasser describes, once you are a Muslim, you are a brother or a sister, and you are your brother's keeper. Becoming Muslim establishes a spiritual bond that surpasses race, nationality, and social status, uniting the believers through their shared faith. Like our UU values of love, equity, and generosity, moderate Islamic teachings eliminate caste, race, and social hierarchies. Muslims treat each other as equals, a practice they demonstrate daily, standing shoulder to shoulder in prayer, 5 times a day. They are encouraged to support one another, to share their joys and sorrows, and to avoid division, all of which strengthens their sense of community. This sense of community was evident in the warm greetings that Yasser had for everyone he met at the stops that we made along our bus trip. Everyone was given a dap. Now, if you don't know what that is, you're going to have to Google it. It's a thing. And they were also given a hug. And if they were family, they were greeted with kisses on both cheeks. We saw this over and over again, and we traveled to 8 cities over more than 1,000 miles. Visitors are also held in high esteem by Muslims. Why? Because in Islam, hosting is an expression of your faith. According to the Sunnah, which is the second most important source of Islamic law and guidance after the Quran, offering hospitality is an act of kindness and generosity that is rewarded both in this life and in the afterlife. It is also an opportunity to help the less fortunate. It builds relationships with others while providing an opportunity to practice kindness and generosity. And all Moroccans, no matter what their income is, have a special room to receive guests. These rooms have long couches placed along the walls, so everyone has a place to sit. This picture is of Hamel, a woman from a farming family, and she is serving a meal for us that features couscous that she had just made that morning. And even the Berber family we visited, who lived in the middle of nowhere, had a special tent where they entertained. And everywhere you went, you were served mint tea. It is this spirit of hospitality that allowed Yasser to take a walking hitchhiking trip throughout Morocco after he graduated from college. He never had to fear finding a place to sleep or worrying about running out of money because someone, a brother that he might have just met, would open his home to him. That is not the brotherhood or even the neighborliness that we have in today's United States. Additionally, our vision of Islam, unfortunately, has been colored by the more violent images of Sharia law behind such events such as September 11th. 2.5 decades have passed since 9/11, and we remember the violence of ISIS, but probably not this particular incident. 6 days after the towers fell, President George Bush visited a mosque where he found that the Muslim leaders were just as appalled by the attacks as every other American. When we think of Islam, Bush said, we think of a faith that brings comfort to 1 billion people around the world. And what is the purpose of religion other than to bring comfort to people? It doesn't matter where you live, what ethnicity or religion you are, life is not an easy journey. We all need a source of comfort and community. When I visited Morocco, I saw a version of Islam that is a source of comfort. It is not an instigator for violence. It was not at all uncomfortable for me, a Unitarian Universalist, to be in the company of people devoted to a religion that was very different from my own. Because although our religious practices differ, our values are much the same. We recently experienced an incident of bigotry against Islam in San Diego. 2 teenagers killed 3 members of the largest mosque in the city. They then turned their guns on themselves. It is no wonder young, impressionable American children become radicalized when you look at the rhetoric on social media, the immigration crackdown, and some of the laws proposed by our elected representatives. And I'm going to name a few of those laws that have been proposed. There is the Sharia Free America Act, the Defeat Sharia Law in America Act, and here's one that made me laugh after seeing how much dogs and cats are supported by the whole community in Morocco, the Protecting Puppies from Sharia Act. Kind of makes you wonder what these people are doing in Washington, doesn't it? Sharia law is scary. It is based on a set of principles from the Quran that certain Muslims interpret in rigidly strict ways. But rigid, strict versions of religion exist everywhere. In the United States, we have Christian nationalists. There is militant religious Zionism and Haredi extremism in the Jewish faith, and the Hindutva among the Hindus in India. Any fundamentalism grounded in absolute literal translations of sacred texts can be manipulated to create personal or political power. Any fundamentalism can incite violence. In a book that I'm reading, it's like a 600-page book, so I'm not sure I'm recommending it or not, but it's quite the read. Journalist Anand Gopal describes how one city in yet another Islamic country, Syria, rebelled against the vicious dictator Bashar al-Assad and tried to form its own democratic government. That government, in a city named Manbij, lasted for only 18 months before it was taken over by ISIS, which, as we know, is a Muslim extremist group. Gopal's reasoning for the failure of democracy was that the economic alienation and political polarization among the Ba'athist regime had created a vacuum. But it was not just the economic issues. It was also the new, fragile, liberal norms. Manbij Muslims did not know where to begin to formulate values, morals, and laws that were not based on the Quran. Morocco's dictator is a monarch, and the country lives by religious law. The current king is a benevolent dictator, but Moroccans acknowledge that when this king dies, there's no guarantee that future monarchs will be as benevolent or that its House of Representatives and House of Councilors interpretations of the Quran will continue to be as liberal. But for now, Sunni Islam is working for Moroccans, and its influence in daily life benefits the country in many ways. All of our guides, drivers, etc., carried their own prayer rugs with them, and they pray 5 times a day. Their prayers consist of repeating verses from the Quran, and as you can see from a photo taken from the Hassan II Mosque, phrases from the Quran are often incorporated right into the decor of mosques and other official buildings. According to Yasser, prayer is like a meditation. It is centering and grounding. As C.S. Lewis said, prayer doesn't change God, it changes us. When you view it in this light, frequent prayer becomes a therapeutic practice that contributes to the contentment of its practitioners. After the death of Hassan II, activists and journalists look forward to a future of change and democratic transition. In 1999, King Mohammed VI established the Independent Commission of Arbitration Indemnity to investigate state crimes against civilians that had been perpetrated by Hassan. Universal health care and free public education right up through college evolved. The movement towards democracy, however, faltered in the aftermath of the Arab Spring in 2011. When mass protests broke out in Morocco in 2011, King Mohammed VI delivered a historic televised address announcing a new commission to draft a new constitution. The resulting 2011 Moroccan constitution was passed via a quick public referendum. It offered just enough concessions to satisfy moderate reformers and to divide the opposition. After so many centuries of living under a monarchy and within solely the parameters of Sunni law, just as the Syrians in Manbij who experimented with democracy experienced, Moroccans needed to know where law and order would come from as their country became more liberal. Unitarian Universalists would not be comfortable living under the rules and the religious practices of Islam. We're too used to our freedoms, not to mention our wine. But it was enlightening to spend time with people who do not find such restrictions limiting, who in fact find their spiritual lives are enhanced by these religious practices. Why ever would we not want to have such peaceful, generous people living here in the United States? While traveling in Morocco for a little over 2 weeks, I discovered a great deal of common ground. Belief in the dignity and inherent worth of others, belief in caring for the environment, the goal of leading with love and kindness, and the value of having a religion that is a comfort to all of its followers. I experienced the culture of a religion that truly trusts we are brothers and sisters in faith. We are our brother's keepers. The Greek poet Hesiod is often cited as being the earliest source of the saying, "Observe due measure, because moderation is best in all things." When we apply this wisdom to our religious lives, no matter what those beliefs are based on, all of humanity wins. We also win when, as Brian Stevenson and Rick Steves advocate, we experience others by proximity. We cannot know each other from a distance. We can only truly know each other when we get close and share the experiences and challenges that others face in their lives. I throw in this last photo of the Sahara Desert for a couple of reasons. I was totally blown away by the Sahara. Its vastness humbled me. I was reminded what a small, insignificant speck I and my two fellow travelers, whom you see in the photo, are on this big, beautiful blue marble. I went to Morocco already believing two things. The first was that experiencing other cultures increases our understanding of their differences and similarities, and the second was that moderation is the best in all things. But I came away with a deeper understanding of those concepts at a very emotional and spiritual level. And that's where travel wins every time. And I know a lot of people can't travel, but you can watch Rick Steves on PBS. The universe sent me to Morocco, and I learned a lot. So be it, and blessed be. Will you rise for our final hymn, Blue Boat Home? Let us continue to grow as citizens of our communities, our nation, and our world. Let us work to build the common good for ourselves and generations to come. May it be so. Amen.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.